come up again. Thank you for making the second trip up. Dean is one of our forum leaders, and we're going to talk a little bit about the path forward for our future.
Thanks, Deb. Good evening. My name is Dean Borgeson, and I'm a local volunteer with Our Mississippi, Our Future. As an avid fisherman and hunter, I moved to Cross Lake upon retirement 3 years ago, largely because of the quality of the area's waterscape and forests. My sister-in-law's family has continuously had a place on Lower Whitefish Lake since 1927. Back then, her grandmother had to inspect prospective properties by rowboat. My first visit to that area was in the mid-70s, and the area has changed markedly since then. As we've been hearing tonight, clean water is crucial for the well-being of Minnesota's economy and its people. Natural lands as forests, grasslands, and wetlands act as nature's filtration system and keep our water clean. However, our water quality is at growing risk. Pollution is increasing as natural lands in the Mississippi headwaters are converted by development, farming, and industry. These changes both increase the pollutants entering the system and reduce the existence and effectiveness of nature's filters. We can see the negative impact of extensive land conversion on water quality in the Minnesota River Basin. And at the current rate, we can expect to see similar outcomes in the Mississippi Headwaters Basin. We have a rapidly diminishing window of opportunity to make a different choice. We can work towards sustainability in the Headwaters River Basin, and the good news is we don't have to start from scratch. We can build an already strong foundation of conservation work in the region. Much of the work that needs to be done is already underway. It's work that brings partners together, including county soil and water conservation districts, the Minnesota Land Trust, area lake associations, the Trust for Public Land, Camp Ripley, the Nature Conservancy, and others who want to protect and restore the land and water quality in the region. The conservation work already underway is impressive, but more needs to be done to effect conservation on a scale needed to ensure that we can remedy the effects of nutrient overload, pollution, and silt runoff. Currently, we do not have the funding needed to pay for the work we have in front of us. Over the next 10 years, we need to see a significant increase in conservation spending to support the work of our conservation partners and state agencies as they address the challenges Todd just outlined. To accomplish our goal of protecting water quality in the Headwaters Basin, it is necessary to build the political will needed to return the best practices in terms of conservation funding. With the currently available relatively low interest rates, it makes sense for this funding to include bonding, which has fallen out of favor with the legislature, but has been used effectively in the past to fund our state's natural infrastructure projects. Existing dollars also need to go to work for multiple partners are doing in the ground. Dollars for the Legacy Fund amendment need to be dedicated strictly within the scope of the amendment and not used for purposes that had used other funding prior to the amendment being approved by over 1.6 million Minnesota voters in 2008. We don't need to study the problems further, we need to take action. That includes helping farmers implement conservation practices to improve soil health and reduce runoff, helping cities reduce the stormwater runoff into our lakes and rivers, working with private landowners interested in using conservation easements to protect and permanently restore their lands in ways that benefit them and their communities. One example is the Sauk River watershed, where the Nature Conservancy is working with partners, including a local farmer, to restore their marginal cropland back into a wetland. This is important as wetlands act as the lungs of source water. Its plants and soils help filter out nutrients and pollutants, so the waters are clean when they enter the river. Just as our lungs filter the air we breathe, so only the oxygen we need enters our bloodstream. This is the kind of work we need to build on. As we look forward to the legislative session, the 2020 legislature will have succeeded if there are new investments in state resources and healthy water protection efforts, There's at least $10 million in bonding made available through conservation activities that protect northern forests and grasslands for water quality and reforestation. And third, is a renewed emphasis that a larger portion of the dedicated conservation funds should be invested in on-the-ground projects protecting water. All of us have a stake in ensuring we could keep our area's water clean. We need to build partnerships across multiple sectors and unite Minnesotans across the state regardless of their political leanings. The future we want is possible. We can ensure that as Minnesota grows, we grow in a way that sustains people, places, and the planet. It happens when all of us make a commitment to act in whatever way we can and whomever we may be. Thank you.
Thank you.